moving on. Same thing, back to 1.
So I built this title sequence in After Effects. It's just a combination of some particles as well as 3D lighting, some lens distortion layers that are keyframed over some text and some solid color. Then I took some footage that I had captured on location that didn't make it into the cut and mixed it with a little bit of the sound design that was also in the film to tie it all together. It was definitely inspired a little bit by Seven, if you've seen Seven's title sequence. So this character is my buddy Daniel. Daniel is a musician that I had met years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, playing with my band. Yeah, I had met him playing some shows. He had a different band at the time, but we actually play in a band together now, and we use some of our music at the end of this film, which was kind of cool. And he's just a fun person to collaborate with, and he also is the one who scored this film, so I was really excited to have him on this project. So for this little sequence here, we had quite a few different camera angles to cover him going around the car. So we had to get the blocking just right to make sure that when we were cutting back and forth, it felt smooth and it felt right, and that I had plenty of options to move along in the edit with later. So this shot right here actually wasn't on the storyboard. It was a little different on the storyboard. It was actually supposed to be a shot from on top of the car looking down at him. But I'll play a little bit of the behind the scenes footage here in a second. But as soon as I hopped up there, I immediately was like, nah, this doesn't look good. So we landed inside of the car, and it just felt right, and it was the obvious choice. But
tell me when to run sound.
I'm not in it over here, am I?
How would it be like?
You're super close, yeah, okay.
Right? Bueno?
I actually
Too
don't
high.
like this shot.
Yeah, it's too high. That's kind of what I figured was going to happen. It's too high up.
Yeah.
I had to get him climbing on the car.
So, what if we roll this window down?
Shoot through both windows?
Can you unlock this?
Yeah, just shoot it from in.
sometimes you've got to be willing to kind of go off of your own storyboard a little bit. And I think that's why it's so important to plan ahead and go through all of it, so that when you're on location, if something just doesn't feel right, I feel like it gives you that much more mental space to move freely and try something else. So this shot was a little bit improv, and it ended up being one of my favorite shots, I think.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, no. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
For anybody that's a car person, you might be wondering why the interior of this BMW looks kind of like a Nissan, and the answer to that would be because it is a Nissan that's parked in my driveway that I just grabbed this pickup shot. We decided to do the pickup shots of the interior of the car separate, just to give us a little bit more time to do some of the other more complicated shots on location.
Amazing. So now what? Do I break the window?
There's something pretty funny that happened trying to do the tail slate at the end of that last shot. I'll add it at the end. So we were starting to lose sun really, really fast, which was great because it gave this gorgeous color display in the sky. Also made it kind of hard because then we just wanted to sit and film the sunset rather than get the stuff we needed to get, but it was a beautiful sunset. That's actually me in a mask. I think I credited myself at the end, but yeah, that's a mask. It's not CGI or anything like that. It's just a mask, and it looks kind of real when you make it blurry on the screen. So right there, that last shot where he's looking up, I originally was going to keep it on his eyes, but for some reason it just felt right to cut his eyes off and catch just the lower half. I've never really done that before. I find that I'm always doing my extreme close-ups on eyes, so it was kind of a different move for me to do an extreme close-up on just his face. Not to mention that there was so much movement happening with the lights happening behind him just over his shoulder. It felt right. And then moving into this section here, the medication, we threw it in there to be like, is he supposed to be on medication? Is it something that he took? Is that thing on the camera a hallucination from not taking the medication, from taking the medication? Does the medication have anything to do with this person? Maybe it's for somebody else, right? It doesn't really explain, and I really like ambiguity. I think leaving the door wide open for a viewer to fill in the blanks is enjoyable. Like, I enjoy doing that when I watch pieces. Sometimes having all the answers isn't what I'm looking for. But carrying on. This shot right here where it moves back and then he's out of frame, that was absolutely intentional, and it was suggested by Daniel. We were watching a piece on online, and he had shown me a shot where the camera moves following an actor, and then it's as if it comes back and the actor misses his cue, but it just adds this extra like, oh, don't go that way to it. And that's why we had done it. And then we landed here. I wanted to come back. We had found this tunnel, so all the debris and everything that's in here was as it was when we found it. And so it was already just this creepy layer dungeon feeling. And when I framed this, I wanted obviously the focus to be Daniel coming this way, but I wanted this pile of debris that you see to just kind of catch your attention, and it was almost as if like you could tell something's living here. So although Daniel is coming, the only thing that's moving, the real focus of this shot for me was the debris here. And this was a pickup shot. This was actually something we just grabbed when I was getting extra B-roll and ended up making it into the cut. That bottle he kicked on accident, and it just worked great. So I left it kind of quiet and right here blurry because I was originally going to, put in a figure that came out into the middle or just walked across the path there. And once I started actually playing with that in After Effects and adding it in, it seemed too obvious. So I kind of like not showing anything other than just the creature on screen or potentially on paper as seen in the end. I feel like it kind of just adds a little bit more to that was it even real or not type of thing. And this is my wife, Ellie. She has been a huge support and help in all of this filming. And this is our dog, Tonto. He is a Doberman, and he is just barely turned 5 years old. He's a handful. He's fun, though. So I decided to wrap this short film with her because I used her as my main character in one of my earlier projects here for one of the Full Sail Pro projects. And so I just thought it was cool to have her as a cameo at the end, as well as to keep with the ambiguity of, hey, there's just this missing persons poster on a board, because that's so often really how some of these stories go, unfortunately, right? Like it's just a paper on the board to most of us when we see it, but who really knows? Everything's just, there's so much more to it. This is one of my favorite shots, just the way that the sun was at this time of day. It was super bright, so I was definitely dialed in pretty high on my ND, probably around 130 second or higher, I'm certain of it. And yeah, this song that we end with is from the band that I'm in with Daniel, who was in the film, and one other dude named Michael. And it's just fun to be able to incorporate all these creative aspects into a project, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit and listen to me ramble. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out. I love chatting about this stuff. Thanks for watching.
Okay, tell us later. Want to flip that upside down for me? You learned something new today. Cell slating with a digislate is garbage. Roadside, scene 1, shot 1, Robert, take 1. Perfect.